Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sal, and this is another expedition log. Today we're going on another grand adventure to a mall that is now shuttered. I had the opportunity to visit this place just days before it closed for good, and I was able to take my sweet time in there, investigating every inch. The lights were buzzing super loud. There were more buckets catching water from the holes in the ceiling than I have ever seen. And the vacant Peebles was one of the worst abandonments I've ever captured on film. There was even a kid skateboarding around inside the mall, shredding absolute gnar, who would turn out to become my boy Ward, my one-time only apprentice named Dalton, accompanying me inside the Peebles. Go grab a drink and a snack. This is gonna be a long one. As always, I hope you're all thriving, and that you and yours are having a good time all the time. Also, only a small portion of my audience is actually subscribed to me, so if you dig my content, I would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing and ringing the bell to be notified of future free content that I release on my channel. So today, I'd like you all to come take a walk with me through the Staunton Mall in Stanton, Virginia. But first, a quick word from our sponsors. George Costanza as the Pretzel Boy, some creepy kid as a car mechanic that looked sort of like an NPC from one of the Elder Scroll games, and a Wolfman sighting from a parallel ExLog universe. Enjoy.
So let me hear from you. And remember, the old Wolfman loves you. Yes, I do.
It takes the best car fixer to make a car run best. And Mr. Goodwrench is the best car fixer I know. So when your car needs fixing, remember, Mr. Goodwrench works here at Charlie O'Ball Pontiac Buick GMC in Stanton. And remember, no matter who makes the car or truck, when it's fixed at Charlie O'Ball, that makes a great deal of difference.
Fear and jealousy. That's what this is all about.
Let the pretzel boy play.
Only time will tell if fat-free pretzels will be allowed.
Play!
But the dream ended today.
We find these roll gold pretzels unfairly elevated game. The pretzel boy shall not play.
Oh, sure, I'm disappointed, but I got my own team now.
Go, 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 go!
All in all, a happy ending
The men look good.
for the pretzel boy.
Colonial Mall Stanton, one of Shenandoah Valley's most desirable shopping destinations, invites you to enjoy a unique shopping experience. Conveniently located at the intersection of I-64 and I-81, exit 220 in Stanton, the Colonial Mall presents an exciting mix of over 55 nationally recognized stores, local specialty shops, and a wide range of services. The only enclosed retail shopping center within a 30-mile radius, Colonial Mall Stanton is designed to make your shopping a breeze. The mall is home to Belk, JCPenney, Goody's Family Clothing, Peebles, and the recently opened Steve and Barry's University Sportswear, bringing you the largest selection of high-quality graphics and garments with prices substantially lower than those available at college bookstores. Colonial Mall offers exciting special events, convenient gift certificate programs, and seasonal holiday photo packages. Whatever you are shopping for,
You'll find it at Colonial Mall Stanton. Our stores, your style.
On March 8th, 1966, it was announced that Harry Rosenfeld, of Rosenfeld Realty Company based out of Washington, D.C., was calling for the opening of a brand new retail complex in Stanton by the fall of that year. The proposed outlet would occupy over 300,000 square feet of retail space and would house a variety of stores. Among the selections would be 3 national department stores, chain grocery and candy stores, a finance company office, and stores for drugs, sewing machines, and liquor. Pretty much anything you needed to survive a zombie apocalypse. In early March of 1966, there was an announcement made by Harry Rosenfeld, who said that groundbreaking would occur within 60 to 90 days, and the development would be known as the Stanton Regional Shopping Center. By April 12th, back in '66, Atlantic States Construction Company of Atlanta, Georgia, was hired as the general contractor for Rosenfeld's development gig, and they had begun moving earth to make way for the new shopping center. Just a few months later, on November 2nd, rumors were swirling that the project had been canceled and the land sold. But Mr. Rosenfeld came through to let everyone know that these rumors were false, and that the project was still happening. He stated that his contractors would begin laying the footing for the buildings by January 1st, but that they were also waiting for an extensive $500,000 sewer and water project to be completed by the next spring, which was further delaying the retail center. Despite these setbacks, Rosenfeld appeased the public interest, telling newspapers that the shopping center was already 90% leased, even before it was fully pad ready. Through a series of events, Rosenfeld was looking for a new contractor for his project by April 5th, 1967, and he had opened bidding for what he called a turnkey job. The J. Robert Carlton and Associates engineering firm based out of Richmond, Virginia, was responsible for drawing up plans for the shopping center, and those plans had changed a bit since the 1966 announcement. These changes caused a shakeup in construction companies, ergo the need for opening bidding to hire a new contractor for the project. There was no news on the project for nearly a year, but on February 7th, 1968, an article was published in the news leader for Stanton, VA, showing the snowy collapsed roof of a Montgomery ward currently under construction. At this point, the Holtz Construction Company of Rockville, Maryland, was the general contractor building the shopping center, and they were under public scrutiny for what looked like shoddy workmanship, along with facing liens totaling more than $223,000 from various suppliers.
It's so loud. It's so loud. It's that one. My brain is vibrating right now. It is one of my favorite sounds in the entire world, though.
Philip H. Sagan, a partner for Rosenfeld Realty, told the newspaper that the Montgomery Ward roof wasn't in final construction form at the time, and that it hadn't yet reached a point where it was to have been tied together to provide final design strength. Mr. Sagan stated that the architectural planning for the shopping center called for all roofs to be designed to withstand twice the accumulation of snowfall recorded in the Stanton area in the past 50 years, and reassured the public that while this roof collapse will cause a slight setback, the grand opening for the $1 million development was still on track for August, about a half year from when the article was published in February 1968. On the morning of Wednesday, September 18th, 1968, Montgomery Ward celebrated its official ribbon-cutting and grand opening. Present at the ceremony was then Stanton Mayor Richard A. Farrier, who said, quote, the opening of this beautiful new Montgomery Ward store is an act of progress which will benefit the entire area, and is a demonstration of private enterprise growing in the United States under the finest system of government yet devised." Close quote. It would be over 7 months after the wards opened when the shopping center would finally fill out in occupancy. On April 23, 1969, the Stanton Plaza Regional Shopping Center had its formal grand opening, with a long open-air concourse connecting senior anchors Montgomery Ward and JCPenney. We're in that concourse right now. Accompanying the anchor spaces were nearly 40 other stores, including the Plaza Cinema, which is directly to our left, which we'll check out in a second, Woolworths, Merle Norman Cosmetics, Jason's Snack Shop, Boyd's Hairdressers, a Safeway grocery store, and a People's drugstore, among others. The Stanton Plaza opening was met with great fanfare and brought tons of jobs to the town.
Kickflip. Kickflip. Tray flip.
Can't do a tray flip. I'm trash. I'm just a poser.
Then just like go fast or something. You're on film now.
Oh, I am.
Oh, you're in a movie.
Despite its fantastic reception at grand opening, Rosenfeld Realty would come under fire just 1 year after the plaza opened on August 13th, 1970, when the Augusta County Board of Supervisors reacted to complaints of unsightly debris left behind the plaza by construction crews. It was actually pretty gnarly from the pictures in the newspaper. Behind the plaza there was a field that just had giant sheets of aluminum laying around, and metal rebar, steel drums, massive ditches in the ground, and construction junk and jargon all over the place. I saw no further mention of this in my research, so I'm guessing Mr. Rosenfeld sent some of his goons out there to clean it up. Or at least I hope so. On September 26, 1973, the area behind the Stanton Plaza would find itself back in the news yet again. The Augusta County Board of Supervisors met to discuss new complaints about the rear section of the plaza, which the public claimed was now overgrown and eroded. It sounds to me like the residents of 1973 Stanton had standards, as they should, and after meeting with the Board of Supervisors, Rosenfeld stated that they expect the situation to be corrected. But on the other hand, they have hired contractors in the past to cut the thistles and weeds, along with planting grass to the eroded areas, but that it just never took. These failed results in the past notwithstanding, they rededicated their efforts to the Board of Supervisors and promised a quick resolution. The Safeway grocery store closed at the Stanton Plaza on Saturday, October 9th, 1982. Safeway's parent company said that they had to close the location due to dwindling profits and a standoff with the local union over wages being lowered and time off being cut. By this time, 6 of the 35 storefronts at the plaza were empty, and both tenants at the plaza along with locals were voicing concern that their shopping center was in some slight trouble. By January 5th, 1983, newspapers began reporting on rumors that Stanton Plaza would be sold off and turned into an enclosed mall. A spokesman for Rosenfeld Realty responded to these rumors swiftly a day before the article dropped, saying that they hadn't heard of any plans to sell the plaza, and, quote, "We should be the first to hear anything about plans to sell the plaza, and we haven't heard a thing," close quote. President of the Stanton Plaza Merchants Association, John Gardner, also mentioned that he heard the rumors, but he wasn't sure if any plans to build an enclosed mall had yet materialized. Well, just about a year after the rumors of Stanton Plaza's sale and redevelopment were publicly denied, on December 11th, 1984, news surfaced of the Southside Shopping Center Limited Partnership, of which James Covington and his company based out of Richmond, Virginia, held a 95% owned interest. News came out that Southside were looking to purchase, expand, and renovate the Stanton Plaza. James Covington, general partner of Southside, had asked the Augusta County Industrial Development Authority to issue $2.5 million of industrial revenue bonds for construction and equipment for a 75,000 square foot building at the shopping center, and passed their resolution of intent for the job. While these bonds would secure equipment and construction materials, the money for purchasing and renovating the existing land and structures would come from other sources. As the news of the impending sale went public, there was no one denying the efforts, and spirits were lifted at the plaza when Sears purchased the old Safeway space and opened a Sears outlet store, pumping traffic to the shopping center. I just want to make a note here that there were signs stating that you can use the bathroom in this closed storefront because the other restrooms in the mall were all out of order. So you had to go into an abandoned store to pee. It doesn't get classier than that. The construction bond issuance was approved by December 28th, and Southside announced its intent publicly to secure additional loans to purchase and renovate the plaza, enclosing it and adding an additional 25,000 square feet of space. Stanton Plaza was officially sold on March 27, 1985 to Mr. Covington, who immediately announced plans to begin work on enclosing the plaza by August 1st. The sale price wasn't listed publicly, and in full disclosure to my audience, it's worth noting that Augusta County, Virginia puts a paywall in front of their online land records. It costs $600 for a yearly subscription to get the data, and I wasn't about to pay that just to find out this one sale price. But if I had to guess, I would say it was somewhere in the ballpark of $4 to $8 million. The rumor mill was activated yet again due to this announcement, forcing a spokesman for the Leggett department store chain to deny any talk of the downtown Stanton branch moving to the soon-to-be enclosed Stanton Plaza. This was on the heels of Covington announcing a new 75,000 square foot department store, with their goal of finishing the entire project by July of 1986. In early 1986, on January 19th, the enclosure of Stanton Plaza was underway, and the stores were all still open. The enclosure was financed by the Merchants Association of Stanton Plaza, and they decided to keep the plaza operating as normal, where shoppers could come and go amidst the construction. With the construction dominating local news outlets, the rumors of Leggett closing their downtown location came true by April 6th of '86, when it was announced that they would be opening a location in the newly renovated Stanton Plaza location, selling their downtown space, which was assessed for $989,000. By August 21st, a few months after the Leggett rumor started flying, James Covington announced that while some stores would be opening in bits and pieces throughout the renovation, the grand opening of the redeveloped plaza would be delayed until the following spring. First to open at the mall would be the newly renovated Montgomery Ward on August 25th. Several surrounding stores would have rolling open schedules over the next few months, and customers were taking in the sights of an enclosed mall being built around them day by day as construction continued on the overall project. An announcement finally went public that Leggett would be opening on February 25th, 1987 at the new Stanton Plaza location. Given the lack of grand opening notices for the new mall, it seemed Covington was waiting for Leggett to open before finally dedicating the mall and holding a ribbon-cutting ceremony. But the secret had been out for a while, since shoppers were already walking the halls of their shiny new enclosed space, seeing the mall take shape before their very eyes. And without a ribbon-cutting ceremony, without any fanfare surrounding the event, the 424,000 square foot Stanton Mall was officially open for business on February 5th, 1987, when the Stanton Mall Merchants Association took out an ad in the local paper showcasing the new Stanton Mall branding, a picture of the newly enclosed mall and its new slogan, quote, "Your shopping destination," close quote. I can't imagine how many focus groups it must have taken to come up with those three words. Really fantastic work. As I was doing my research for this episode, I was rifling through documents and newspaper articles and SEC filings and anything I could get my hands on, looking at the days leading up to that February 25th, 1987 Leggett opening. Typically, you'll find tons of store ads showing a grand opening date that coincides with a big anchor opening. But I kept finding ads for multiple stores opening at seemingly random times. There was even a February 9th article clip that said, "Stanton Mall renovations are nearing completion." But a week before that clip was published, an article came out congratulating the mall on its grand opening. So whoever was handling the PR to announce the grand opening of the newly enclosed Staunton Mall, the PR was totally botched, and nobody was on the same page. As I got closer in my research to February 25th, 1987, I was expecting to come across something detailing the grand opening of Leggett, since it sounded like Covington wanted to wait on the mall's grand rededication until the anchor finally opened. But as I got closer to this date, the only one celebrating the new Leggett store was the Fraser Construction Company, who took out a quarter-page ad wishing the new store well and thanking all of their subcontractors for helping to erect the building. Maybe there was a huge celebration for the mall, but it certainly doesn't seem to have made the news, at least the newspapers. So if any of you were actually at this mall between 1985 and late February of 1987, I'd love to hear from you down in the comments what the experience was like, if any at all. If you were at some raucous bacchanal of a party at this mall when they might have cut the ribbon, please let me know what it was like at Staunton Mall during the ceremony to celebrate its enclosure. After just over 20 years of operation, the Sears outlet store closed at Staunton Mall on July 8th, 1989. And according to a press release from Sears Roebuck at the time, they made the decision to close the store because, quote, "it lacked the required long-term sales potential," close quote. A couple of years after the Sears outlet closed, Covington's Southside Shopping Center Limited Partnership filed for bankruptcy protection on October 24th, 1991. In the 3 months leading up to their court date for this, they had only made one payment of $96,000 on their $17,250,000 loan. Their interest was accumulating like crazy too, at a rate of $6,156 per day added to their bill, pushing the amount they owed their creditor, who was MetLife, well above $18 million. Covington had also owed other creditors, including $335,000 in delinquent real estate taxes owed directly to Augusta County. Just before the bankruptcy filing was made, MetLife sent letters to all the tenants at the Staunton Mall asking them to send rent money directly to them, the bank. The court ruled against this and agreed that Covington could still collect rent directly. On June 17, 1992, 25 people gathered on the steps of the Augusta County Courthouse, and the Staunton Mall went up for auction. There was only one bidder, and it was MetLife, who won the deed back to the mall for $17,214,597.66. The auction was over in less than 10 minutes. MetLife decided to keep Covington on to manage the mall, but said that they were planning a swift transition. Conversely, the services of the current maintenance and security personnel were retained with no plans for a transition. MetLife made the decision to keep the mall in their possession until the market conditions improved, at which point they would decide to sell the mall.
Attention, Stanton shoppers. The abandoned people is now open for your exploration pleasure. Come see the mountain of disgusting moldy clothes and all the buckets collecting all the garbage and junk coming off of the ceiling. We don't know what it is. So go locate the boy skateboarding around the mall like a lunatic named Dalton and come explore the abandoned people. Thank you.
For this segment inside the Peoples, I'm going to let the natural ambience and badinage between myself and Dalton do the speaking, and I'll return the narration once we've exited the Peoples back into the main concourse.
This is nuts. Oh my God. Careful walking around in here, kid. It's slippery. Peebles. Always. Always. Word of mouth. I run a Discord server, and people were talking about it. This is nuts.
The ceiling on the outside used to be open.
Like a hole?
Yeah, the ceiling used to not be there in the hallways.
Oh, wow. Oh, you mean it was like an open air mall?
Yeah. They don't even need to right now. It's turning Sunday.
Yep, Mother Nature's taking it back. You said over 3 million?
Yeah.
Oh God, it stinks. Why is this open? Wow. Oh my God.
You just go into your own malls.
Yep.
Is security guard do live?
Yes.
What do they say? You can't film here?
Yep. Usually because the owners, they don't want the general public to know exactly how bad the mall is.
Oh, yeah.
And they usually keep like stores listed on their website. Look at this shit. This is crazy. Look, man.
Bad flood, which we haven't had in 20 years. It was a few months ago. It was like waist high in downtown Stanton. What's your channel's name?
Sal, S-A-L.
That's it?
Yep.
Well, I came at 10 a.m. with two other friends, so we were like, mall shutting down, because people have stayed here for a long time.
Really?
Security guard always stopped them. It's like this big guy that was really mean. Yeah, it's crazy. The guy was apparently really mean, man.
Really?
Yeah, so I guess they don't really care. They're still pissed off that they get a 30-day notice.
Mm.
And that hot walk, it just remodeled. It literally, that used to be an old country cookie. They just remodeled it.
I need a flashlight. You got a flashlight?
Oh, I got a phone.
You don't want to see anything.
You can't see anything?
No.
Yeah, it's okay. There's just a bunch of stores.
Hold the door for a sec. Emergency exit? Oh, no, that's probably roof access. I wonder if there's anything in it.
That's right.
Apparently it's 38 degrees.
Oh, it doesn't take.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. I've been in hundreds of malls, and this is probably the weirdest mall I've been in.
Really? Yeah. Give me some reason.
Why is there a stage in a Peebles? That's one. What is this?
Yeah, the hot walk I'm saying, that used to be an old country cooking. And they shut it down a long time ago.
What the f is this?
What is this?
Here's reason 2.
What the heck? Oh, this is weird.
This is bizarre. This is bizarre.
Why is it back here? Why is there tile?
Is this like the security guard's lair?
I guess.
Look at this.
What the? Oh, that's freaking weird. All these clothes. Brand new clothes.
Look at this. This is nuts.
So they just leave it? Look at the suits. Nice suits with ceiling on them. Do you just like cut out the parts of you walking around and just show the crazy stuff, or do you just
I show everything.
everything? Look at that nice suit. I guess it's just junk.
I just can't get over this stage.
Alright, well, I gotta hit out my right here.
Okay, dude.
It's funny seeing someone here filming it.
Isn't it?
It's funny.
What's your name, dude?
Dalton.
Dalton? Good to meet you, Dalton. My name's Sal. Look me up.
Okay, I will.
I'm expecting a subscriber from you.
Okay, okay. I see him.
Hit it. Tray flip. Don't do it.
Goodies opened in the former Safeway turned Sears outlet space slightly over 1 year after the Covington MetLife foreclosure debacle on Thursday, October 14th, 1993, and the very next day, it was announced that Woolworths would be closing at the mall by January 31st, 1994. After sitting in MetLife's ledger book only to depreciate and stagnate for a few years, the Stanton Mall was finally sold on May 2nd, 1995 to Stephen D. Bell, general partner of Stanton Mall Properties, LLC, who secured $9,310,000 in financing to purchase the property. So Mr. Bell rolled up his sleeves and got his hands dirty with a renewed sense of urgency to rehabilitate the Stanton Mall. This dude came in guns blazing and wanted to put his money where his mouth was, immediately announcing a $5 million renovation, which would begin promptly on July 26, 1996. Everybody say bye to Dalton. And Dalton, if you're watching this video, contact me somehow. Join the Discord or PM me or something. We need to talk about your future as an expeditionary docu-vlogist, young Jedi. You have much potential. And your skills on a skateboard are unrivaled. You still owe me a tray flip, by the way. So if anything, reach out to me through PM or something with a video of you doing a tray flip or a kick flip or something. I felt unsatisfied watching you skate away into the sunset. And this video now feels incomplete without the sounds of your wheels knocking about on the tiles as you shred the concourses of the Stanton Mall. We shall meet again, Dalton. But I would be remiss if I didn't get back to the historical narrative of this mall. As September rolled around, it was announced that Belk was to buy out the Leggett brand. The Leggetts were the once estranged distant cousin to the Belks, and the two families worked under the same company founded by William Henry Belk in 1888. But they split off into two businesses in 1927 after some rabid family dispute. While they came back together when the merger closed in October of 1996, making Belk the new owners of the Leggett chain. A new Belk sign was photographed as it was being installed on the exterior of Stanton Mall on February 9th, 1997. And 1 month later, the new Belk had its ribbon-cutting ceremony on March 12th. The following month, the old Woolworths space was renovated to accommodate a new Stone & Thomas, which opened on Wednesday, April 16th. By June 28th, management had started taking out quarter-page ads in the local newspaper teasing the new changes coming to the mall, along with stores just opened including Bath & Body Works, Boston Beanery Restaurant and Tavern, Will's Books and Stationery, and an expanded KB Toys. The renovations to the mall had finally been completed by December 6th. The meager food court, which only had one restaurant, was relocated to where the movie theater is, with an expanded set of food options along with an arcade. They removed the center court fountain to give Stone & Thomas a bit more room. They installed a new canopy at the main entrance, and they gave the mall a fresh coat of paint. This is how you run a mall, people. You make changes, you update, you move things around and refresh the scenery. You keep it fresh for customers. Stephen Bell understood what had to be done, and he had them all going in the right direction through the 90s. As software engineers scrambled frantically to update their code to prevent a total meltdown from Y2K, the once thriving malls of the 80s and 90s were beginning their long march to the Gallery of Grey Ghosts, where they would settle down for their long nap. As such, Birmingham, Alabama-based Colonial Realty Limited Partnership began a deal on November 17, 1997, to purchase 5 community shopping centers and 3 enclosed malls, of which the Stanton Mall was included. The deal closed with a total purchase price of $78,500,000, which was funded through a triplet of fancy real estate maneuvers. First, they issued 661,517 OP units, or operating partner shares, which they put a value of $19,500,000 on. Doling out these shares to investors in lieu of cash is what would ultimately usher in the modern-day REIT structure, funding the development of many malls and retail outlets around the country. For their second mechanism, Colonial Realty would get an advance of $53,300,000 on an unsecured line of credit. Third, they would just take on $5.7 million in debt in their ledger books. Colonial's first deal on the enclosed malls, including Stanton, closed on December 5th, 1997, while the deal for the community strip malls closed on January 20th, 1998. If you look at the Colonial Realty Partnership SEC filings, it lists the exact prices for the land and improvements that Colonial paid Stephen Bell for Staunton Mall. They paid $2,907,337 for the land and $23,230,187 for the buildings, putting the grand total at $26,137,524 total for the Stanton Mall. That's a pretty big price tag, but I will stay firm in my assumption that James Covington paid between $4 to $8 million to purchase the property from Rosenfeld in 1985, and subsequent to said purchase, Covington then put another $5 to $10 million into the redevelopment. This would also further justify the $9.31 million sale price to Stephen Bell in 1995. Shortly after the 1997 sale completed to Colonial Realty, they would choose to rename the property to Colonial Mall Stanton, and it was in early 1998 when the movie theater was acquired by Regal Cinemas. In July of 1998, the Elder Beerman Stores Corporation completed the purchase of 21 Stone and Thomas stores, of which the Colonial Mall Stanton location was included. The purchase must have been an impulse buy, because 3 months later, on October 1st, Elder Beerman announced that they were selling 5 of their newly bought Stone and Thomas stores. The Stanton location was sold to Peebles Incorporated, and after a short renovation, the old Stone and Thomas was converted into a Peebles, which opened on Thursday, November 12, 1998. I really hope all of you out there can appreciate the ironic dichotomy between those two signs on the mirror. On the bottom, you have a sign probably from the 70s telling you to eat and drink and smoke as much as you want before you go spend all of your money. And then, as if we indulged a bit too much in that sign from the 1970s, we've got a sign above it telling us to mask up, keep our distance, and to just not get too close. Sometimes I really do wonder exactly how we got to this point in time, and it really does feel like we live in an alternate universe. The 70s sure must have been fun, but I wasn't there to see it. In a move that would rock the retail industry, it was announced on December 28, 2000, after an abysmal holiday season, that parent company GE Capital would be closing all 250 Montgomery Ward locations and laying off over 37,000 members of staff. The Stanton location was closed by February 2001, leaving the mall without one of its biggest and most important anchor spaces. 3 years would go by while the former wards sat empty until the space was reoccupied by a Steve & Barry's Sportswear, which opened on Wednesday, August 18, 2004. 2 years later, the Goodies at Colonial Mall Stanton chose not to renew their lease as a result of poor sales and closed the Stanton location on May 13, 2006. Later that year, a Gold's Gym would open in the former Goodies space, which would also occupy 2 inline storefronts. One of the most striking things that I noticed when I was filming at this location was how the tenants were just carrying on like normal, despite knowing that they were being evicted in just days on Christmas Eve. People were all tidying up their storefronts. They were making sure that their stock levels were right for the next day. And then I heard the vacuum going, carrying on, pushing forward. That resilience really stuck with me. And again, it reminded me of when I filmed Schuylkill in its last days. Stephen Bell finally had enough, and he decided it was time to bail out as tenants were fleeing around him left and right amidst the depression in the late 2000s, so he put them all up for sale. First Republic Group Realty purchased the mall on July 13, 2007 for $21,700,000, which was a fair bit less than what Mr. Bell paid. First Republic spent a pretty sizable amount of money on the mall, and in an effort to really leave their mark, they brought the original name back for old time's sake, rebranding the place back to Staunton Mall. This would be the only change they made during their tenure. Just a few years after purchasing the Staunton Mall, First Republic had multiple loans facing default. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, and shortly afterwards, they refiled for Chapter 7. Their properties were liquidated, and the bank sold them all off at auction. Staunton Mall Realty LLC, an investment firm based out of New York, was quick to the draw when some cheap dead mall property came up for purchase, and they snatched up the Staunton Mall in November 2010 for a cash deal of $4,050,000. That's just under 1/4 of the $21.7 million that First Republic paid in July of 2007. The month that the mall sold, in 2010, the appraised value was $19.3 million, according to the Augusta County property records, so the deal looked enticing for anyone looking to make a profit. The community was enthusiastic about the New York firm coming down south after watching their mall lose tenants and fall into disrepair under First Republic, but they had no idea what troubles the mall was about to face. So let's back up for a second. If you look into that holding company, Staunton Mall Realty LLC, guess who was the big name behind it? That's right, folks. None other than Mike Cohan and his miscreant band of silent partners, slumlords in chief to any dying mall they can get their hands on. If any of you have been with my series for some time now, it'll come as no surprise that Cohan popped up like a scavenger rat to whisk away some super cheap dead mall, only to hang on to it in the hopes of making a few dollars off its sale. Around the same time Cohan came on the scene, Staunton Mall lost their books a million, who moved into a bigger and more well-adorned space at the Waynesboro Town Center, just 20 minutes southeast of Stanton. The town center at Waynesboro was built in the early 2000s but hadn't fully opened until 2007. Since its opening, it's certainly drained some of the traffic away from the Staunton Mall. Towards the end of 2013, the Gold's Gym changed hands and reopened as CrossFit Stanton. But it was never my understanding that gyms in malls would produce any real sales other than subscription fees. So in early 2014, Staunton Mall Realty LLC, led by Mike Cohan, sold the property to Delaware-based Staunton Mall LLC on February 19, 2014 for $4.5 million. The new owners brought in Asprey Real Estate to manage day-to-day operations and leasing at the mall. At the time, the property was valued at $8.4 million, including the nearly 35 acres the land was built on, itself worth nearly $2.8 million. But being the greaseballs that they are, Cohan just wanted to make any sort of profit, and the sale gave them $500,000. In the world of real estate profits, that's really not too impressive. I digress. It was around this time that the CrossFit Stanton turned into a Stanton Health and Fitness. After sitting abandoned since 2010, except a couple of private screenings here and there, Robert Harrison began renovating the former theater in October 2017, bringing all 6 screens and concession back to life with his own money. The mall cinemas was renamed to Legacy Theaters and had its grand opening on December 15, 2017. At opening week, among its showings happened to have been one of my favorite movies of all time, Thor Ragnarok. Taika Waititi definitely saved the Thor franchise after Dark World flopped, but that's a conversation we can have in a voice chat on the Discord server at some other time. Surviving over 20 years of operation, the Peebles at the Staunton Mall succumbed to its sharp decrease in sales and ceased operations on April 21st, 2018. For the next couple years, the mall began to really decay, with new ceiling holes appearing around the mall every day, Peebles literally falling apart, and the electric buzz getting even too loud for me to handle. Then, to top it all off, 2020 came into the mall hungover and stanky after not showering for 30 years, reeking of that slimy junk you can't get out from inside a garbage disposal. Seems it was bring your garbage to work day, and 2020 brought along its whacked out wretched little helper named COVID-19, who rubbed its greasy virus-laden parts all over the world, critically constricting Earth's movement. By June 5th, JCPenney announced over 150 store closures, and the Stanton Mall location was on that list with a slated closure date just after Labor Day, and by October, it was closed. With the mall in a complete nosedive, and Belk serving as the only anchor, albeit with their interior mall access closed off, Asbury Real Estate was tasked with putting the Stanton Mall up for sale by their Delaware owners. And in November 2020, Stanton EM2 LLC purchased the mall for $3,675,000. At the time, the land alone was assessed at $2.8 million, which means the building, or the actual Stanton Mall, was worth about $875,000. That's it. As soon as the mall was purchased, the owners had their managing team, the Mannequin Companies LLC, turn right around and give all tenants 30 days to vacate, with their last day being Christmas Eve. Now, I've covered some truly horrific mall owners and management, but typically they just let the mall fall to pieces like a Moonbeam or a Mike Cohan. Under them, tenants leave on their own terms, and they wait to sell the dead mall to a buyer willing to give them just breadcrumbs of a profit. But while the world was amidst a pandemic, with people's livelihoods ruined and retail businesses decimated, to kick mall tenants out by Christmas Eve is a sadistic move that only true sycophants and sociopaths employ.
Yeah, it is down. So that's the only way out. Storefront.
Yeah.
And then just go up through that hallway, and it'll bring you out in front of McDonald's.
Got it, thank you.
That's true.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Thank you. Coming in? It's kind of you, thank you. You told me to go out this way. The other door was closed. Thank you.
By December 7th, 2020, I showed up here to see what looked to be the mad scramble of tenants collecting their things, preparing to fully move out in the coming days. And it really did remind me of the last days of the Schuylkill Mall. The tenants scrambling to leave, families helping each other to carry their furniture and equipment out of their restaurants that they've owned for years. I had a chance to speak with a few of the tenants at Staunton Mall, who explained that the owners made their intent to buy and subsequently sell the mall known in the months leading up to the November 2020 sale.
Yikes.
While this was happening, the owners of Hot Wok were still busy relocating from the food court, converting the old country cooking space into their new restaurant, and no one told them to stop. No one told them that they'd be forced to leave and that the money they were spending to renovate the restaurant was just essentially going in the garbage. In the months following my visit, I called some of the tenants to get a feel for their situation. Most tenants were able to find new storefronts around town. There were a few acting defiantly against the eviction notice. I called the Maurices a few times in early 2021 and said hi to the employees when they'd pick up on occasion. It was a weekly call to various tenants just to engage in a little badinage, so that they knew that somebody was still thinking about them, because the owners just left the country after serving their eviction papers. Then one day, they stopped answering my calls. The website went dark, the Facebook group fell silent, and all phone numbers related to the mall now came up with a non-responsive tone. It was at that point that I realized the mall, which had existed in extremis for so many years under its various owners, had finally crossed through its terminus, and the Stanton Mall had shuttered its doors for good. I'd like to thank all of you for watching my video. It's rare that I get the opportunity to have such freedom like you just saw to film inside of a mall these days, but I'm glad that I took the detour to see this wonderful structure just days before it closed. Thanks especially to my patrons and elite explorers who make these super off-campus ExLogs possible. You guys are putting the gas in my tank. I want to also thank all of you for subscribing and sticking with me these last few years. Producing the series has been a blast, and I've got some really fantastic episodes coming up. So if you're not subbed to my channel yet, and if you dig my content, you may as well just subscribe, because here we are, nearly an hour into this video, and you're still with me. By the way, if you're still here and you join the Discord, make sure to ask a mod to give you a special role for sticking through this entire episode. To join the Discord server, just download the free app on your phone, tablet, or computer, and click the link down in my description. You'll just need to answer a couple of questions when joining, and you'll be on your way. Make sure to also follow me on Twitter and Instagram for updates between episodes. My handle for both is @SalvatoreAmadeo, and the links for those are down in my description. I'll see you all soon for ExLog 84 as we make our way up north. But in the meantime, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and have a fantastic day.
So let me hear from you. And remember, the old wolf man loves you. Yes, I do.